history in the 1990s. They'll have a lot of these stars who were big in their local leagues, perhaps played in Europe, but never got that NBA shot, never got it properly. Gaze, Andrew Gaze, Shane Heal, they were prime examples. If they're playing now, they're 10-year NBA guys. I've got no doubt. I think Heal himself has said if he had have gone to college in the US, he probably would have made the NBA earlier just from building his profile. So back here, they had profile. And then every 4 years, we'd go to an Olympics and suddenly the world would say, oh, Heal can shoot, Gaze can shoot. They're talented. We knew it. We saw them in our league, but I think also the familiar eye hurt those guys because we saw them every week in the NBL and people said, well, it's not the NBA, so they can't be that good. And I think that was so difficult to explain to people. These are world-class guys. Andrew Gaze has got grey hair, so what? He's really good. Shane Heal is tiny. He's got that weird jump shot that goes from behind his head, but he is world-class. Because they weren't in the NBA, again, people back here say, oh, they're just little Australians. They're not those guys. So that, back then you just couldn't make that sell. The team style they played at that time was brilliant. It was team first, lots of passing, movement. It's very much the foundation of what we do today within the Australian game, within the Boomers. And the way they carried themselves, the way Gaze was on the world stage, smiling, happy, always there for a chat, always there for his teammates. That's the stuff that's carried on today. That's what we've seen Andrew Bogut, Delhi, all these guys do today. And so the foundations are vital. Those guys have a bigger stake in the success that happens now as anyone who's on court right now.
I also think that the other big change for even guys like Delhi and Patty and Joe is that because of the rise of the internet, social media, whatever you want to call it, they didn't need to look to the Boomers as their sort of point of reference. They looked to the NBA players as their point of reference. And that was a real big change, I think, in sort of getting this group to sort of understand what they could be.
Absolutely. Although I think Australians have always looked as much to the NBA as our own guys. We've looked up to our own guys and revered them, but you always look to the NBA and said, I want to be like Mike. I want to be like Charles Barkley. I want to dunk like Dominique. I want to be, and now, LeBron and whoever's up now. You look on the streets in Melbourne and Sydney, you've always seen NBA jerseys. And it's just become more so in recent years. So we always look to those guys too, as Australians. You want to be them first. They're the dream. I think the big difference is it's not a dream now. Competing with those guys for a Delhi, for a Patty Mills is not, one day I might be good enough to beat them in one quarter. Now it's I can beat them. I can take them on. I see them every night in the NBA. I hold my own. And that resonates back here. People see that and say, hey, if they can, why can't I?
Let's talk about the Boomers for a second. What do the Boomers mean to this country?
The Boomers don't mean enough to this country. I think they're a wonderful brand. They've held their own and punched above their weight for a long time, and now they're on the world stage doing things. But people have so rarely seen them, If we see them now, it's in Asian qualifiers where it's the NBL guys playing. And then every 2 years, every 4 years, we see them at a World Cup or an Olympics. And that's the only time. So we don't really see them enough. It's not like the Socceroos or the Wallabies, where we see them regularly. So that's something we have to fix in this country and put them up on the stage on a pedestal far more. But when we do see them, when we see them at their best, they're the best of us. They're the guys who go out and compete with the Serbias, Croatias, Lithuanias, Russias, Americas of the world and take them on. And, for many years, I think we just haven't seen enough of it. But when we have seen it, we've loved it. I think, I don't have the number on top of my head, but when Australia played the USA in Rio, that was among the highest rating TV shows in the whole year on Australian television. And I think it started at 6:30 or 7:30 in the morning. That's rare for this country to get that sort of audience together, to bring people together like that. But the Boomers did. And they can do it more. We just got to get them out there.
And
yeah, for sure. Thank you. The stop-start of this is interesting. I'm used to just the print interviews of the world. Good man.
Oh, the print interviews?
Where you can just keep talking. But no, thank you.
Let's talk a little bit individually about some of the guys and what you know of where they came from. And all five of these guys that we're sort of focusing on have different, not only have different personalities, but they're also sort of a different makeup, and they came from different places. So let's start with Andrew first, sort of the first in after the other way.